Here's what Big Mouth would look like in live action. Okay, so when ScreenRant asked me to do a live action version of Big Mouth, my immediate thought was, well, they're all like middle schoolers, right? So we're doing a flash forward episode. Let's cast some adults, because otherwise this is gonna get hella weird. First up, Nick Burch, voiced in the show by Nick Kroll. So let's start with that. Live action Nick Kroll as Nick Burch. Yep, that looks like Nick Kroll. Jesse Eisenberg has that whole fast-talking, anxious thing going on, so that could work for a grown-up Nick. And cool, there's Jesse Eisenberg looking like himself. Cool. Michael Cera is similarly awkward and neurotic, which could spell success for the live-action Nick. I'm going with Nick Kroll, though. He just seems like the natural choice. And also, this is kinda silly, and I already know the comments are gonna be a slosh pit of hatred, so whatever. Then there's Andrew Glowberman, who's voiced by John Mulaney. Again, let's just see John Mulaney, and yep, that's John Mulaney, all right. How about Elijah Wood as Andrew? Oh hey, it's Elijah Wood wearing a green shirt and glasses. Amazing. Ooh, how about Andrew Garfield? He's got the whole tall, lanky thing down pat. Yeah, you wear that outfit, you sweet pile of limbs. John Mulaney is an absolute national treasure, though, so we're gonna go with him. Okay, this is lame. Let's skip ahead to Maurice, the hormone monster, also voiced by Nick Kroll. He helps various teenage boys through puberty, most notably Andrew. Let's go ahead and see what Nick Kroll would look like in the role. Not bad. I kinda wish his nose looked more like a penis, but beggars can't be choosers. How about we throw in Bill Moseley as Maurice? He'd make a strong hormone monster, plus the star of Devil's Rejects deserves a big mainstream role, something juicy. Ooh, juicy. And, I don't know, Andy Samberg. You know, the star of breakout hit and justifiably most popular movie of all time, Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. I could see him nailing the voice and mannerisms of everyone's favorite hormone monster. That's terrible. I'm going with Nick Kroll, though. Sure, he'd be doing double duty in the cast, but that's nothing a little camera trickery and liberal doses of CGI can't handle. God darn it. Next, Connie Lingus, the hormone monstress who mostly focuses on Jesse. She's voiced by Maya Rudolph, so once again, let's turn an SNL cast member into more of a monster than they already are. Phenomenal. I could also see Kristen Wiig tackling the role. Her versatility in playing over-the-top characters would suit Connie's unpredictable, chaotic energy. And, I don't know, how about, Sarah Silverman. Haven't seen her in a while, so let's get her big comeback playing Connie. Or not. Once again, I'm sticking with the original cast. Maya Rudolph gets the role. Moving on. Jessie Glazer is an interesting one. As a redhead, she's one of the few characters I actually can't see played by their voice actor. See, here's Jessie Klein in the role. It doesn't quite work. At least I assume it doesn't. Presumably my AI artist has done a good job proving my point. So right off the bat, we're ditching Jessie Klein. Sorry, Jessie Klein. Let's see our stock redhead Karen Gillan in the role. She's got the comedy chops to pull off Jessie's sense of humor and general feeling of indignation. Here's an idea though. What about Christina Hendricks? Think about it. There's a certain dramatic irony to one of the most feminist characters in the show to grow up to become one of the most developed actresses out there. She's a great actress, of course, but in a show based around sex, she's got the body to match the show's busty themes. God, I feel so dirty just talking about that. That said, I think Karen Gillan would work best as a grown-up Jessie Glazer. Let's give her the role she'll never actually fill. Jay Bilzerian is voiced by Jason Mantzoukas, so let's see how he'd look in Jay's little black vest. Cool. For other options, let's keep in mind that Jay is meant to be Armenian Greek, and so just for poops and giggles, let's see System of a Down's Serge Tankian in the role. I have no idea if he can act, but that's just some quality stunt casting right there. For my third choice, Theo James is part Greek, so let's try him out in the role. Beautiful. Shock and awe, though, I'm sticking with Jason Mantzoukas. No one can replace that distinctive voice, and it's just how I'm casting this particular video. Missy Foreman Greenwald is an interesting one. We're going to ignore Jenny Slate, as she was replaced on the show by Ayo Edebiri, whom you may know from her work in The Bear. Let's go ahead and see her as adult Missy. Cool. Geneva Walton, who played BB Urich in Daredevil Born Again, could also work as Missy. Let's see her dressed like a minion. Let's see Halle Berry in the role. Again, it's just the actor in a pair of overalls. Yes, I recognize that she stopped wearing them in the show, but I feel like it's the more iconic look for the character, so we're gonna keep the overalls. You know, I really like Geneva Walton, but let's stick with my modus operandi and go with Ayo Edebiri. Okay, another hormone monster, Rick. This guy is old and gross and speaks in a barely discernible way. He's another one voiced by Nick Kroll, so let's see how that looks in glorious live action. Spoilers! It looks gross. Let's see Doug Jones in the role. He could do it all in a practical costume, kind of like in Pan's Labyrinth, except disgusting. And as expected, he looks like a waking nightmare. Or we could go full stunt casting and get ourselves an old school Shakespearean actor. How about Anthony Hopkins? That's great. But I'm actually going to go with Doug Jones. That, my children, is called an arbitrary choice. Coach Steve is also, like most characters in this freaking show, voiced by Nick Kroll, so let's see him pulling a Mike Myers and taking on yet another role in this live-action atrocity. Throw Paul Scheer in a wig and he could also make a solid Coach Steve. Oh, or we could have Ben Stiller make a cameo in the role. It doesn't matter. I'm sticking with Nick Kroll. The man's gonna earn his paycheck, damn it. Finally, we have to cast the ghost of Duke Ellington. Jordan Peele is the obvious choice since he voices the role in the show, and is of course a hugely successful actor in his own right. However, let's just assume he's too busy being a master of horror to tackle the part. How about Don Cheadle? He played jazz musician Miles Davis already, and he's a funny dude. Just look at him playing Captain Planet. Then there's Courtney B. Vance, who has all the gravitas and eloquence to portray a legendary musician. I actually, you know what, I really like the idea and the look of Vance in the role, so let's give it to him so we don't have to worry about scheduling Jordan Peele. Courtney B. Vance, you're Duke Ellington's ghost. And there we go, a whole cast without a single actual middle schooler in sight. Thank goodness. I was really worried this would be more awkward than usual. As I said in the opener, this is a flash-forward episode, which I imagine would work as a special anniversary episode celebrating the show. The finale we got at the end of Season 8 purposefully didn't show us what happens in the future for our cast of horny teenagers, hormone monsters, lonely gym instructors, and musically inclined ghosts. Therefore, the world is kind of our oyster, our smelly, enticing oyster. Anyway, what do you think? Would it be dumb to pervert the sanctity of the finale by bringing back the characters as adults? Is this all just clickbait with no real-world repercussions? Or did I simply not talk about the live-action version of a character you desperately wanted to see envisioned through the power of AI? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching Screen Rant.